Under the lights of Los Angeles shining into the sky, Olivia, a young musician, would stay at home alone for one night due to a concert tour of her family. But tonight, the house would be filled with a mysterious piano inside and a dark presence that came with it. The first night, Olivia heard a piano playing in the silence. However, he found it difficult to understand the source of this sound because he knew that he was alone in the house. In his dream, an old piano appeared in the middle of his room along with a shadowy figure. The figure indicated that he needed her help by telling her the story of the piano. On the second night, Olivia, in her dream, opened a window into the past of the old piano. The piano once played fascinating melodies in the hands of a talented musician, but fell into silence after a tragic event. The shadowy figure asked Olivia for help to start playing the piano again. On the third night, Olivia decided to restore the old piano, but at this time, strange events occurred at home. Things moved by themselves. Doors were mysteriously opening and closing. Olivia had to face this mysterious energy hovering around the shadowy figure. On the fourth night, Olivia made a trip to the piano's past in her dream. He faced the sadness behind the melodies and the tragedy experienced by the owner of the piano. The shadowy figure asked him to help revive the piano by illuminating this sad past. On the fifth night, Olivia made an effort to restore the piano and began to revive old melodies. But at this time, the shadowy presence became more prominent. His energy, combined with the power of the music played by the piano, circulated through the house. On the sixth night, Olivia combined the story of the shadowy being with the music played by the piano. With the power of the melodies, the being began to forgive past injustices and sufferings and find peace. On the seventh night, when the family returned, the atmosphere in the house had completely changed. The piano was no longer just playing beautiful melodies, but also became a source of light that illuminated the shadows inside the house. Olivia's courage and the power of music had transformed her home into a place of peace and healing. On the cold nights of Chicago, James, a young writer, was excited to be on his own due to the fact that his family was not at home for one night. But tonight, the house would be filled with a quiet presence that came with an old book inside. On the first night, when James felt the silence, he found a mysterious message inside an old book. In her dream, the shadowy figure who came with the book guided her to explain the secrets of a passage inside the house. This passage, however, was guarded by a silent presence. On the second night, James teleported into an old room of the house in a dream. There were ghost tracks in the room from the past. The shadowy figure explained that the passage inside the house was opened after a tragedy that once happened and was guarded by a being who still bears the effects of that tragedy. On the third night, James began to investigate the history of the house. He examined old documents, family albums, and rummaged through city archives. The shadowy figure guided James to reveal past injustices and the story of the lost ghost. On the fourth night, James discovered an old diary in his dream. The diary described how the peace that the house once had was marred by a quiet presence after a tragedy. The shadowy figure indicated that this silent presence was the guardian of the passage inside the house. On the fifth night, James stepped in to expose the injustices in the house's past. When he faced the silent being, he learned about his sad past and tragic fate. The shadowy figure said that this being needed James's help to get peace. On the sixth night, James made a deal with the entity to close the passage inside the house. This agreement was based on correcting the injustices of the past and helping to restore peace to a quiet existence. On the seventh night, when the family returned, the atmosphere in the house had completely changed. James's courage and determination to face his past had transformed the house into a place of peace and healing. The shadowy figure and the silent presence were now guardian spirits that brought only peace and quiet inside the house.
Emma, who lives in a historic neighborhood of New Orleans, had to stay at home alone for one night because her family was out of town. The wooden floors and the old structure of the house have always been a symbol of tranquility for him, but tonight he was hiding something else. On the night of her parents' date, Emma decided to enjoy the silence. It was quiet inside the house, just like old times. But as the night slowly advanced, this silence began to disturb him. He was getting goosebumps, as if he felt that something was waiting for him. On the first night, Emma decided to sleep in her bedroom. But after a while, a strange flash of light from the bedroom window woke him up from his sleep. As he approached the window, he noticed the presence of strange figures outside. The figures, it seemed, surrounded the house, but no matter how close they got, they weren't making any noise. On the second night, Emma's dreams were filled with strange figures. The figures seemed to be calling him home, but he did not understand what they wanted. When he stayed awake, the silence in the house still drove him crazy. On the third night, strange events began inside the house. Things started moving by themselves. The room's lights were turning on and off by themselves. Emma tried to solve these strange events, but she could not find an explanation. On the fourth night, Emma decided to investigate the history of the house. As he studied the history of the house, he learned about strange events that happened in the neighborhood. In ancient times, there had been a number of mysterious disappearances in this neighborhood. The people had not been seen again after one night. On the fifth night, Emma decided to solve the mystery inside the house. He explored every corner of the house, trying to find out the meaning of the figures. Finally, he found an old diary, and this diary revealed the mysterious past of the house. He learned that the figures living inside the house were the ghosts of the former residents of the neighborhood. They were the reasons behind the mysterious disappearances in the neighborhood. These figures were inviting Emma to solve the secret in the house. In the end, Emma fulfilled the request of the figures and revealed the secrets of the neighborhood. These figures could now return to their homes in peace. Emma, her silence and history at home, had now turned into a new beginning, and she was waiting to share this experience when her family returned home, having solved the mysteries of this neighborhood.